What if the way you respond to disrespect, chaos, or pressure could define not only your day but your destiny? This video is not about controlling the world. It is about mastering the one thing that shapes your entire life, your mind. Rooted in time. Less Stoic philosophy, we take you through 14 transformative lessons that show you how to respond with clarity instead of confusion, strength instead of anger, and intention instead of impulse. Whether you are new to Stoicism or seeking to deepen your practice, each part will challenge you to rethink how you live, speak, and choose. Stay with us through the end. The answers you seek are already within. This video simply helps you uncover them. Understanding disrespect and how it silently destroys you. Imagine a relationship as a vessel sailing through vast, unpredictable seas. It is built not only to endure storms but also to find peace in calm waters. At its core, respect is the anchor. Without it, even the strongest ship will drift. Disrespect rarely arrives with thunder. It sneaks in quietly, like water seeping through cracks in the hull. A sigh dismissed, a glance avoided, words said too sharply, or not at all. It begins subtly, and by the time we notice, we are already sinking. Many people believe disrespect comes from grand gestures or overt insults. But more often, it grows from tiny, repeated moments of emotional neglect. The worst part is that we often let it in. We rationalize it, blame ourselves, or silence our discomfort. Each time we do, we erode the boundary between what is acceptable and what harms us. Stoic philosophy teaches us that awareness is the first act of self-respect. To master our emotions, we must first recognize the moment they begin to shift. When someone makes you feel small, confused, or invisible, that is a signal. Listen to it. Do not ignore it. This is not about fighting others, but about standing firm in your value. Before you react, pause. Ask yourself, is this how someone should speak to a person of worth? Disrespect cannot thrive in clarity. When you live with purpose and self-knowledge, your silence is strong and your presence demands respect. Compassion as the beginning of connection and healing. Compassion is not weakness. It is not the act of surrendering to others or ignoring their faults. True compassion, as taught by the Stoics, begins with understanding. It is the ability to see pain in another without rushing to judge or fix it. It is the quiet strength to hold space for someone else's suffering without letting it consume our own peace. This kind of compassion does not come from emotion alone. It comes from clarity. Marcus Aurelius advised us to first ask ourselves what fault in us most resembles the one we are about to judge in others. This question transforms criticism into connection. When you acknowledge your own imperfections, you no longer see others as enemies but as mirrors. From that recognition, forgiveness becomes possible. And from forgiveness, respect is born. Practicing compassion sharpens your emotional awareness. Instead of reacting with anger or frustration, you begin to respond with steadiness and understanding. This does not mean accepting harmful behavior. It means recognizing the difference between a person's actions and their worth. You can set boundaries and still care. You can walk away and still wish someone healing. When you are compassionate with yourself, you learn how to regulate your emotions without suppressing them. You no longer spiral into shame or self-blame. You begin to treat your own mind like a friend who needs guidance, not punishment. That is when you become unshakable. That is when respect flows naturally from how you carry yourself in every interaction. Kind words as the foundation of lasting respect. The way we speak shapes how others see us and how we see ourselves. Words are not just tools for communication. They are reflections of our inner discipline. In Stoic thought, right speech is not about speaking more. It is about speaking with purpose. Every word should carry weight. Every silence should be chosen. This is how respect is earned without force. Speaking the truth is the first step. Honesty builds trust. And trust is the foundation of all meaningful relationships. But truth without compassion becomes cruelty. A wise person knows how to speak directly while still being kind. Instead of harsh criticism, they offer firm clarity. Instead of silence that punishes, they use silence that protects. Choosing the right moment to speak is as important as the words themselves. Timing reflects emotional control. When we speak out of anger, we lose the chance to influence. But when we wait, breathe, and choose our words, we gain power. This is not weakness. This is strength in restraint. Right speech also includes listening. Truly hearing someone is a form of respect. It allows us to respond rather than react. It slows us down so we can think clearly before we speak. This is especially important in moments of conflict. What you say then will either build a bridge or burn it. When we speak with integrity, people listen. When we speak with patience, people stay. Your words are your presence. Use them to build respect, not to demand it. Living mindfully to stay grounded amid chaos. In a world that moves fast and demands constant reaction, mindfulness is not a luxury. It is a necessity. The Stoics did not see mindfulness as escape. They saw it as engagement with reality, without illusion or panic. To be mindful is to be fully present. It is to notice your thoughts without being ruled by them. It is to return to your breath when your mind begins to spiral. When chaos surrounds you, mindfulness gives you an anchor. You cannot control every storm, but you can choose how to stand in it. This choice begins with awareness. Are you reacting or responding? Are you acting from fear or from clarity? A Stoic asks these questions in the heat of emotion. Not to suppress the feeling, but to understand it. Mindfulness helps you pause. It slows the moment down just enough for you to see what matters and what does not. This is how you protect your energy. This is how you make decisions that align with your values, not your anxieties. Practicing mindfulness can be simple. Take 5 deep breaths before a difficult conversation. Observe your body when stress rises. Journal your thoughts without judgment. These small actions train our mind to observe before it absorbs. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. When you live mindfully, you are not easily pulled by noise or tension. You move with intention. You speak with care. You think with clarity. And in doing so, you gain something rare in modern life: calm power. Forgiveness to let go of burdens and regain peace. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is not pretending the harm never happened. Forgiveness is the conscious decision to stop carrying what continues to hurt you. In Stoic thought, this is not a favor to others. It is a service to your own soul. Holding on to anger and resentment ties you to the very pain you wish to escape. Letting go frees you. Many believe that to forgive is to excuse or allow harmful behavior. But forgiveness does not mean removing consequences. It means removing the emotional chains that keep you stuck in the past. When you forgive, you release the power that the offense holds over you. You step into your own strength instead of remaining in reaction. Epictetus taught that people are not disturbed by events, but by their judgments of them. Forgiveness begins when we shift the story. Instead of repeating how wrong they were, ask what lesson is being revealed. This is not about blaming yourself. It is about rising above the event. Self-forgiveness is just as vital. Many people are at war with their own past mistakes. They replay failures, guilt, and shame in an endless loop. But punishment does not create growth. Reflection does. When you forgive yourself, you open the door to change. You stop identifying with your worst moment. Forgiveness is an act of power, not weakness. It takes courage to choose healing over bitterness. In that choice, you reclaim your peace. You begin to move forward not with a heavy heart, but with a clear one. Letting go of what's beyond control to live more lightly. The Stoics believed that much of human suffering comes from trying to control what we cannot. We spend energy chasing outcomes, approval, and possessions, forgetting that none of these are ever fully in our hands. To live freely is to accept this truth. To hold tightly to what you can control and release what you cannot. This is not giving up. It is choosing where your power truly lies. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that he must meet whatever happens with the same calm spirit. The waves of life will come. But when you are not attached to the outcome, you are no longer thrown by every shift in the tide. You become steady. Focused not on what happens, but on how you respond. Letting go also means releasing the need to be accepted by others. When your peace depends on external validation, you are always at the mercy of someone else's opinion. But when you anchor your self-worth in your values and actions, you rise above that need. You no longer bend to be liked. You stand firm in who you are. Detachment from material things is another form of freedom. Wealth, status, and comfort may come and go. What remains is your character. When you stop measuring your worth by what you own, you begin to feel lighter, more present, more resilient. Letting go is not loss. It is clarity. It is the choice to live with intention rather than anxiety. In that choice, life becomes simpler, and you become stronger. Humility is the wisdom to recognize your own limits. Humility is not about lowering yourself. It is about seeing yourself clearly. In Stoic philosophy, humility is the understanding that you are a part of something greater, and that your perspective is limited. This is not weakness. It is wisdom. The proud mind resists correction. The humble mind seeks growth. When you are humble, you become open to learning. You listen more. You assume less. You become stronger because you are not trapped by your ego. A humble person does not pretend to know everything. They recognize their ignorance without shame. They ask questions. They admit mistakes. This honesty builds credibility. People respect those who do not need to be right all the time but who are willing to learn and evolve. Humility also strengthens relationships. When you give credit to others, when you acknowledge help, you build trust. You show that you are secure enough to share the light. In turn, others feel valued and respond with respect. Being humble does not mean being passive. It means you know when to speak and when to stay silent. You know what battles are worth fighting. You choose peace over pride. You choose clarity over dominance. In doing so, you gain quiet authority. Seneca said that while we teach, we learn. Sharing what you know is also an act of humility. It means you believe knowledge grows by being given, not hoarded. True humility leaves room for growth. It invites respect not through noise, but through presence. Patience is how you rise quietly above it all. Patience is not waiting. It is how you wait. It is the calm strength to endure uncertainty without complaint and without rushing. In Stoic philosophy, patience is the companion of wisdom. It allows you to see beyond the moment, to hold back when everything around you pushes forward, and to remain steady when emotions pull you in every direction. Life is full of delays, failures, and frustrations. But reacting impulsively often leads to more harm than good. The Stoics understood this. They trained their minds to pause before judging, before deciding, before speaking. That pause is where patience lives. And within it lies clarity, When you are patient, you protect your energy. You choose not to engage in every battle. You realize not everything needs a response. Patience gives you time to see the full picture, to separate the noise from the truth. It helps you make decisions that are not just fast but right. Patience also builds inner strength. It teaches you how to hold discomfort without breaking. This resilience becomes visible. People begin to trust your calm. In crisis, they look to you. Because you do not just react. You respond with purpose. To develop patience, practice waiting without distraction. Delay gratification. Sit with your discomfort instead of escaping it. Learn to breathe in difficult moments without needing to fix them immediately. Patience is not inaction. It is a decision to act only when the time is right. And when you master this, you become someone who moves not with urgency, but with quiet power. Kindness quietly creates the deepest impact. Kindness is not weakness. It is not naivety. It is strength expressed gently. The Stoics saw kindness as a natural expression of virtue, not a performance for praise. A kind person does not act out of a need to be liked. They act from a deep sense of principle. When kindness comes from clarity rather than emotion, it becomes lasting and powerful. Kindness shows itself in the smallest gestures. A calm response in a tense moment. A patient pause when others are rushing. A soft tone when anger would be easier. These are choices, not instinct, but discipline. Practicing kindness daily builds emotional resilience. It teaches you to lead with understanding rather than ego. Many believe that in order to be respected, one must be strict or cold. But respect born from fear is not true respect. It fades when power shifts. Kindness, on the other hand, leaves an impression that lingers. People remember how you made them feel. They remember the steadiness of your presence when things were difficult. Kindness also starts with the way you treat yourself. When you forgive yourself, rest without guilt, or speak gently to your own thoughts, you create space for peace. From that space, your kindness to others becomes natural, not forced. To be kind is to have control over your emotions. It is to choose your response even when provoked. It is not about pleasing everyone. It is about embodying strength through compassion. That is why true kindness is rare. And when it is real, it is unforgettable. Gratitude helps you feel enough and live more deeply. Gratitude is not about pretending everything is perfect. It is about choosing to see what is already good, even when life feels incomplete. The Stoics practiced gratitude as a discipline, not a reaction. They reminded themselves daily of what they had, of what could be lost, and of what truly matters. This practice helped them stay grounded, even in hardship. When you begin to notice the ordinary, you realize how much you overlook. A quiet morning, a warm meal, a conversation that made you feel seen. These moments seem small, but they form the foundation of a meaningful life. Gratitude does not erase pain, but it shifts focus. It reminds you that joy and struggle can exist together. Keeping a gratitude journal is one way to build this habit. Writing down a few things each day that you are thankful for trains your mind to seek the positive. Over time, this rewires how you see the world. You stop chasing more and start appreciating what is here. Gratitude also reduces anxiety. When you focus on what you lack, you feel restless. But when you focus on what you already have, you create calm. It becomes easier to make decisions without fear. You feel more confident, more content, and more present. In a world that constantly tells you to want more, choosing gratitude is a radical act. It says you are enough. Life is enough. And in that space, peace begins to grow. Self-reflection as a journey back to your true self. Self-reflection is not a luxury. It is a necessary practice for anyone who seeks clarity, strength, and respect. The Stoics made it a daily habit. Each evening, they asked themselves what they did well, where they failed, and how they could improve. This was not self-punishment. It was self-understanding. And from understanding comes growth. When you reflect, you step outside the noise of your thoughts. You observe your actions without judgment. You begin to notice patterns, triggers, and choices. This awareness helps you respond to life with wisdom rather than impulse. It sharpens your thinking and deepens your purpose. Journaling is one powerful way to reflect. Writing down your thoughts turns confusion into clarity. Meditation is another. Sitting in silence allows you to meet yourself without distraction. Even a few minutes a day can build a stronger inner foundation. Self-reflection also builds self-respect. When you take time to examine your motives, you become more honest with yourself. You stop pretending and start aligning your actions with your values. People respect those who live with integrity. But integrity begins within. The world moves quickly. But you do not have to. Take time to return to yourself. Ask hard questions. Listen deeply. In that space of reflection, you remember who you are and what truly matters. Living with purpose so you don't lose yourself. To live without purpose is to drift. Days pass, choices blur. And you begin to feel disconnected from who you are. The Stoics believed that a life well lived is one guided by clear values and intention. Purpose is not found in success or applause. It is found in knowing what truly matters to you and aligning your actions with that truth. Living with purpose means you are not easily swayed by opinion or fear. You choose direction over distraction. You wake each day with a reason to act and a standard to uphold. This clarity gives your life structure. Even in chaos. To find your purpose, reflect on what you stand for. Ask yourself what kind of person you want to become. Let your answers shape your habits, your words, and your relationships. Do not wait for meaning to appear. Create it through the way you live. Purpose gives you strength during hardship. When things fall apart, your values hold you together. They remind you why you endure. A life with purpose is not louder. It is deeper, more focused, and more true. Mastering emotions so no one can control you. Emotions are part of being human, but without control, they control you. Anger, fear, jealousy, they rise quickly and can cloud your judgment. The Stoics did not seek to eliminate emotions. They aimed to understand and master them. Emotional mastery begins with awareness. Before you react, pause. Notice what you feel. Name it. This simple act creates space between impulse and action. When you can observe your emotions without being ruled by them, you gain power. You choose your response instead of being dragged by reaction. This does not mean suppressing feelings. It means honoring them without letting them dominate you. Strength lies in calm decisions, not emotional explosions. Daily practice is essential. Reflect on moments you lost control. Ask why. What belief or fear was triggered? This is how you train your mind to stay grounded. Over time, you become more stable, more confident, and more respected. You cannot control what others do, but you can control how you respond. That is real freedom. And from that freedom comes lasting strength. The journey to self-respect begins within. Through compassion, discipline, mindfulness, and courage. The Stoic path teaches us to rise above chaos without losing ourselves. You now understand how to respond to disrespect not with anger, but with clarity. Not with fear, but with strength. Each principle we explored is a step toward becoming grounded, resilient, and wise. But understanding is not enough. Application is what transforms. Knowledge must be lived to have meaning. The Stoics reminded themselves daily of what they believed so their actions would align with their values. You must do the same. Begin with one idea. Practice it today. Choose calm in a tense moment. Choose honesty when it is hard. Choose purpose when you feel lost. These small acts, done with intention, will reshape how you live and how others see you. Respect is not something you demand. It is something you become. And when you live with presence, discipline, and principle, you earn it quietly, but powerfully.